Hi, my friends, it's Kim with KTB Creates, bringing you another video today. If you wouldn't mind, join me on social media as well and click that subscribe button so you get to see all the videos I upload. Today, I'm going to be doing two high-end signs for you. A nice welcome sign that you can use in your house or on your front porch, as well as a really cool home sign using mostly Dollar Tree items. So let's go ahead and get right into the DIYs. For the first project, we're going to work on the welcome sign. And I'm using what I had in my stash, and I had picked up 5 of these signs back during Valentine's Day. But you can use any of the Dollar Tree signs to get the height that you want. So I picked up 5 of these. Each of these signs measure 10.5 by 10.5. So I'm going to start by lining them all up. I'm going to actually hot glue them together, and I'm using the back side of them. I didn't sand down the other side or anything because you're not going to see any of that. And I wanted to make this as sturdy as I possibly can because, like I said, it is going outside. I do have a covered front porch, so you need to take that into consideration as well. This sign obviously wouldn't hold up, in the elements if you don't have a covering over your porch. So all I'm doing here is just hot gluing all of the signs together. And then I did take a damp rag and I wiped off the glue. I also used some of that Fix-It adhesive that you can get at the Dollar Tree as well, just to make sure they were staying together really well. And then I loaded on the hot glue on the flip side as well. So now you're going to take a piece of foam board, and I'm also going to use that for the backing as well. I then decided to go in with some duct tape, and I taped each sign together as well over the hot glue once that all dried, and it still wasn't sturdy enough. So then I decided to go in with some foam board just to make it a little bit more sturdy. And you'll see too, I thought that it still wasn't sturdy enough. So then I decided to go in with some of my jumbo size popsicle sticks. And I'm just going to use those on the seams like you see me putting them here. So I've seen so many variations of these signs being done, so I kind of just collected a whole bunch of different ways that I've seen people do them, and I decided that this was the best method for what I was trying to achieve, and I'm happy with how sturdy it was. So I just took some regular Elmer's white glue and I just spread it all over the back of the foam board, adhered those pieces to the wood signs, and let that dry. Then once that's all dry, I did go in with some spackle, or you can use wood putty, and I just put that in some where the lines were, where the signs were attached to each other, and also the little holes where the twine was, just so you can make a nice smooth surface for when you're ready to paint. I went in with my Waverly white chalk paint, and I just painted the entire surface with that, and I used 2 coats. So once your white paint dries, I then went in with a couple different shades. I used the mineral in the Waverly chalk paint as well as silver lining, and I'm just going in with a dry brush technique and just wiping on a little bit of that just to distress the sign a little bit and make it look a little bit aged. And you can do this to whatever liking you prefer, like a heavily distressed or just nice and light like I did. And then just to add a finishing touch, I did take my antique wax and I went in and added a little bit of brown to it. And I did focus a little bit more around all of the edges of the sign just to antique it a little bit. So next I went in and I actually created a stencil using my vinyl cutting machine, and I applied that to the sign. And now I'm just going to simply go in with a black acrylic paint and my spouncer, and I'm just going to lightly apply the paint to the stencil. Again, you can do this a little bit lighter if you choose, if you want to make it look like really worn looking. I applied it probably a little bit heavier than what I intended. You know, I just wasn't thinking at the time, but just an FYI for you, if you're going to go ahead and create this, you do want to do it lightly. Now, this is my absolute favorite part when I'm using stencils. I love pulling these off and seeing your creation come to life. And here is how it looks. It's just, there's just something about it. It's just so satisfying. So then once you're all done with that, I went in with a ruler and I'm just drawing a line across where the indentations are from these signs, just to give it the look of shiplap. And I'm just using a regular lead pencil, and then I just go in and I rub that pencil. I like kind of smudge it with my finger, and that to me makes it look nice and authentic and worn. Some people I know go in with a little bit of paint if you want it to do that, and like a dry brush, you could do that as well. But I was happy with the result of just smudging the pencil with my finger. And this is how the sign came out. You would not ever guess that you paid, you know, $5, I guess maybe I would say like $8 total with different supplies. It looks like a sign that you would buy in the store and purchase for like $20 or $30. So very, very happy, very pleased with the way it came and how it looks. And like I said, I use it on my covered porch outside. You could also spray some clear spray over it just to protect it a little bit more. So then on to our second DIY sign. You're gonna need these little canvas prints. Again, I had a bunch of these on hand, so I am using 4 of them. We are gonna create a home sign. And these, I believe, are 8.5 by 8.5 inches square. And then I had this stencil. It's an adhesive stencil by Art Minds. So I'm gonna use that larger stencil there. And I never used this before, so I'm curious to see how they work. So you're gonna start out by taking the little hooks off of all of the signs, and I do hang on to those, and I use those to hang other signs, and we are gonna use one in the end to hang this one. And then I just took an X-Acto knife and I am cutting off the canvas. I tried to pull off the staples and they were just in there so good they wouldn't come off, and you're not gonna see them anyways, so it's not that important to pull them all off. So once you have your canvas off, then you can go ahead and rip off the remaining canvas part. Some of the staples will come out with that as well, which is great, but you do wanna get rid of all of the canvas on the sign. And then if there are any staples sticking out, you can pull them out, but the rest of them you can leave in and they're not gonna interfere with anything. So next you're gonna take all 4 of your signs. I am using antique wax to give it more of like a wood look. So I'm just painting all of the wood on the sign in that. You know, again, you can create whatever you want with this. If you want to paint it or use chalk paint, you could do that as well. But I was going for a more natural wood look. So then you're gonna take all of the canvases and you're gonna paint them with white chalk paint. I am using my Waverly chalk paint in white. I'm actually running low on it, so I'm kind of a little nervous on that. But you can see the coverage of this chalk paint, which is why you see me use it so much in my videos. The coverage on it is phenomenal. I did end up using 2 coats to cover everything fully, but it does such a nice job. It's so much better than using just a plain acrylic paint. So now we're gonna go ahead, and once that's all dry, we're gonna use our adhesive stencil. And you just have to be careful and peel really slowly because it's very intricate and there's some small parts there that you don't wanna rip. And I'm using my spouncer, and I'm taking some chalk paint in mineral, and I'm just applying that to the canvas. Now, I went in a little heavy-handed with this as well. If you want it to look like really faded, you really need to go in super light with it. You don't need to cover everything. It's still gonna show through, and it looks beautiful. So you just want to pull it off really slowly. I did get this stencil at Walmart like months ago. So like I said, it's my first time using it. I was very pleased with how it came out. And that's the little design there. So you're going to want to do that to all 4 signs. Now, like I said, I went in a little bit too heavy-handed, so I wanted to soften them up a little bit. So all I'm doing is using a dry brush technique, and I'm taking my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I'm just going over all of that paint a little bit more. So next we're going to secure our wood frames onto our canvas. Now I'm using hot glue because I'm a little bit impatient, but I would suggest you using like an E6000 or Gorilla Glue or something a little bit more permanent because this didn't stick as well as I thought it might. So I did have to go back in and apply a little bit more. But you're simply going to glue it right to your canvas before you cut your canvas. Then you'll go in and cut off all of the excess edges of the canvas using your X-Acto knife. So then once you have that all done, I simply created some stickers using my vinyl cutting machine, and we are going to create, like I said, a home sign. So I'm just using some brown vinyl here. Now you can create your lettering using many different methods I've seen all over YouTube. You can create your own stencil. You can print out the letters just on a regular printer and do it that way. So there's many different ways that you can get this look if you don't have a vinyl machine. And then for my O, I wanted to do something different. Now I did pick this up at Walmart several months ago, and it's just a little greenery garland, and it's pretty thin, so I wanted my O to be a little bit thicker. So I used the garland to like wrap around in an O like 3 times. So then I'm just gonna like intertwine it to the size that I want it to be, and then I'm just going to triple up my garland. And all I'm gonna use is a little dab of hot glue to adhere it to the sign. So this time I'm going to use my Gorilla Wood Glue, and that is how I'm going to glue all of the signs together. And then I have these really great clamps that I did get at the Dollar Tree a long time ago to secure them together while they dry. You do want to wipe down any excess glue with a damp rag, and you don't need too much of this. And then you're just gonna let it dry, and this is the finished project. I am so happy. I think this looks like a great high-end sign that you would definitely spend a lot more money on. I spent probably less than $8 on this as well, and it looks beautiful. So don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments below. Which one was your favorite? And if you're creating any DIYs yourself, stop and visit my pages on social media and show me your projects. Have a great week, and I will see you soon.